to me, living is the shortest part of life. This little piece right
Mm.
here is the shortest part that I believe your soul continues on. Even when Jarrell, my amazing husband, passed away, my niece at the time, Amelia, was 3. And I believe that like kids still have like the memory of the time before. That's what I believe. And she kept saying, "Why is everybody telling me that I'm not going to see Uncle Jarrell again?" I tried to tell her, "Well, he passed away like your dog." She had a dog named Rocky that had passed away, and she was just like, "But we are going to see him again." I'm like, "No, remember Mimi? We're not." She's like, "No, we're going to see him in heaven like before." Like she was saying, like that place that I was before. And I'm trying to, don't try to get something out of a kid. Now they said something profound. They're like, girl, give me a cookie and leave me alone. But I was like, I had asked my sister, did you tell her this? Her dad, did you? No, she just was like, that place before, that's what y'all so pressed about? Like, girl, we gonna see him there anyway. Time for Paw Patrol.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
I can't even talk to you about loss,
Yeah.
devastating loss, loss unexpected. We are not meant to be here forever.
No.
I just, carpe diem, seize the moment.
Hmm.
Let's let the time that we are here be of value. You don't want to even be a burden to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
we have to be more conscientious. And I get the fear. We all kind of have it in some way. We don't want to hear bad news. But
But there's joy in knowing, like, I mean, it took me a while to get here and lots of therapy from my amazing Black therapist. Shout out to Dr. Green. But, I realized, I mean, after losing Jarrell, I was like, why am I even here? Like, child, wrap this up. But what I realized is like, oh, what a gift to be here because you get to love on the people you love and care for the people you care. That is what the money is for. That is what the work is for. That's what the resources are for, to be of service and to love and to care. And one thing I know, I believe, is that, and this is the theory that Dr. Green helped me to like come to, that I believe that like you get picked up either way. So I taught preschool, as you know, for 10 years, and kids would get dropped off for the first time and cry their little hearts out, some of them, because they're like, where's my mom? Where's my dad? Who are you, lady? I don't know you. And then there's some kids that get dropped off because maybe they have an older brother or sibling and they know how school works. And so they come, they're excited, they eat their cookies and they take their nap and they play at the park. But guess what happens to the kids that spend the whole time crying or the whole time enjoying? You get picked up either way. Like that person that dropped you off comes back to get you. And so I believe I'm here. I could decide to spend my rest of my life crying and in sorrow and in suffering and anger, or I can spend the time I have here loving and using my resources and finances and just like education to help other people. Because either way, we get picked up, meaning that we see our loved ones again.
that is a beautiful way to process. And I feel like, that's true. That rings true to me. It's just that we don't know, no, right? We don't
Yeah.
know, no. No one's ever come back. But that should tell you too. Nobody's come back.
Mm-hmm.
So it must be okay. Because
Hmm. I,
they ain't
I
trying to
watch
get back here.
a lot of near-death experience videos that helped a lot for people
Mm.
who'd experience like clinically passing away, like red line, and then what they felt, what they saw, like what, just a sense of peace and belongingness. There are stories of people who did not want to come back because it was so beautiful there. One guy, he had a heart attack in the middle of the night, died. They revived him, and he told his wife, if I ever get a chance to go back to that place, just so you know, I'm not coming back. Sure enough, 2 years later, he had another heart attack and he did not come back. So, yeah. But yeah, to me, living is the shortest part of life. This little piece right
Mm.
here is the shortest part that I believe your soul continues on. Even when Jarrell, my amazing husband, passed away, my niece at the time, Amelia, was 3. And I believe that like kids still have like the memory of the time before. That's what I believe. And she kept saying, "Why is everybody telling me that I'm not going to see Uncle Jarrell again?" I tried to tell her, "Well, he passed away like your dog." She had a dog named Rocky that had passed away, and she was just like, "But we are going to see him again." I'm like, "No, remember Mimi? We're not." She's like, "No, we're going to see him in heaven like before. Like she was saying, like that place that I was before. And I'm trying to, don't try to get something out of a kid. Now they said something profound. They're like, girl, give me a cookie and leave me alone. But I was like, I had asked my sister, did you tell her this? Her dad, did you? No, she just was like, that place before, that's what y'all so pressed about? Like, girl, we gonna see him there anyway. Time for Paw Patrol. And so they're little, like what I call God nods like that. Like, you're right, I don't know for sure, but I don't believe it goes black, I don't. And I refuse to believe that. So, I mean, we all are allowed to believe whatever we want, but I think life is bigger and more profound than that.
And I also believe the belief in itself manifests.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think there's nothing, you're going to live this life a whole lot differently. And you're going to manifest probably the darkness that you think is waiting for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you start to realize like the purpose of all that we do, I watched this beautiful Black woman on Instagram. She said something to the effect like the more healed I become, the less ambitious I am.
Mm.
And
let me put your book down. I got your book in my hand. Let me put that down for a second.
And I thought, you know what? Because I was wondering, I thought maybe it was grief that was keeping me from ambition because I used to be a shark. I mean, like, I'm like, if it's there to be getting, I'm getting it, And then Jarrell passed away and I was just like, eh. And then it has not returned. And I realized because to me, what's important is not that I forgot that the money, the business, the resources are there to be in service to my life. I am not there to be in service to the thing. And so many of us forget, that we chase what we think is going to be life, but life is the thing that you're living, and that those resources are there to be in service to that. So you can help out your mother. So you can send your niece to graduate school. So you can donate to organizations and programs that serve Black babies, whatever it is that, that you're wanting to do. And so once that happened, I realized I didn't need as much or care as much about the outside accolades as I thought. Because for many folks, especially Black folks, because we're always having to prove ourselves, that I found that ambition is a trauma response. I am good enough. I'm going to show you, but who do I have to show? Child, I was born divine. Like I don't have to prove myself to anyone. Like the very fact that I'm here means I am good enough, no matter what circumstance I find myself in. And now that I've come into that realization, I'm not as keen to go so hard. To what end? Unless it's in service to others. Like, if you want to see me go hard, yes. But if we're in service to myself, I'm good. My bills are paid. I'm happy. I live close to my family. Like, what else can I ask for,
I want everyone listening to my voice, to Tiffany Aliche's voice, to listen up today. I was grateful to see you come in, not just because I'm like, hey, I'm going to see you soon. I can't wait. I got a text from Dr. Black. He's going to do something special for each person, which to me is everything, that he's thinking about each person. I'm putting my hands tonight on each badge, just to, I'm going to say a little prayer over each name. And it's powerful to be in community like that and to know that we're all there with intent. As I'm reading your book, as you laid on the couch, actually in the introduction, you said, I messed up. No, I really messed up this time. About 10 years ago, these were the words that replayed in my head as I sat crying and packing up my things for a couple of reasons. I couldn't afford my condo and I had to move out pronto. And you start talking about the Great Recession and how your life was upended when you lost your job. And today, less than 16 years later, a lot has happened, but you're good enough. You have enough. You have enough. You don't, and I think about people right now attached to these jobs in this climate, especially in the DEI space, but also now you're in the military, or you're doing something that your soul is in conflict with. And maybe before it didn't matter because you were going to get that money. But now you also have to, kind of bend the knee or pledge fealty to something that is counter your very essence and soul. Do you walk away? Do you, I think there's going to be some existential questions people are going to have, they're going to have to confront in this time. And it really boils down to, can I feed myself? Can I clothe myself? Can I put a roof over my head? If you have children, will I have enough for them? And I'm going to tell you this with my full chest, children do not care how much money you have. They do not. And you taught the babies. Their joy comes from you
Mm-hmm.
loving them.
Yeah.
Period. Food, my best time was staying at a friend's house that was giving mayonnaise sandwiches. I thought they were the best. That was to this day I crave a mayonnaise sandwich or white bread, and that was all they had. I didn't realize that was all they had, but that was that those kids were amazing, and their
Mm-hmm.
mom was amazing. And I just think about people right now maybe having to start over. Where did you start? Did you come up with like, I need this amount of money, Tiffany? What was your plan to get off the couch, to get out of your tears, to move to where you are now?
Well, my first plan was I had to lean into community. Like if you are in a good place financially, great. I'm happy for you. I hope you're also building community because at some time, some like things come for all of us. And the number one thing you're going to need is people surrounding you to be able to support you. It might be a sister's couch. I slept on my sister's couch. I had moved one of my friends in my community said, hey, there's a room for rent here in Newark. I slept there for some years, $500 a month. And this is me at 30 something years old you know and so one, I leaned into community, and then two, I didn't have dreams of being a millionaire. I remember thinking if I could just make $500 a month so I could pay for this room. That was my first financial goal post losing my job. I'm like, that's all I need. But I wasn't even trying to pay the rest of my bills. I said they could kick rocks because I knew how to write a cease and desist letter. You wasn't gonna call me and harass me on the phone. I had my 75 cents from I used to fax them people so fast down the Staples, like, do not call me. Like, people don't realize that you can owe someone money. It does not give them the agency to harass you. Like, I learned that real quick. I was like, oh, I can say, hey, you can write me a letter or you can email me because you do want to know what you owe. But that doesn't mean you could call me all types of the night and threaten. There's laws against that, at least for now. And so I leaned in the community, and then I identified a goal that at the time seemed reachable because I had to restructure my brain that I could do it. And so if my goal was $10,000 a month and I didn't reach it, then it would just reconfirm what I thought about myself. Because honestly, I was in a space that I felt that I was a failure. And so I didn't need to like reconfirm that. So I said $500 a month, Tiffany. What do you need to do? I was helping people with their budgets, $50 a piece. I was volunteering. I worked for this nonprofit in Newark that used to try to get young people off the streets by giving them fun things to do after school. And I made some money there. Then I started to work with the United Way, and I built their financial curriculum and started teaching. And so that was it. If I could make 500, and then I learned if I can make 500, I could probably make 15. And if I can make 15, maybe I can make 25. And so that's how I started to build because I was rebuilding my own confidence in myself. Because I didn't have, so many people don't, it's not that you're not capable, but you're not confident. And so that was the second part. So I leaned into community and started to rebuild my confidence. And once I had that confidence, meaning the thing that was already inside me, then I was able to rock and roll. And I did for a long time, but I wasn't happy. I mean, I think because I had such a happy marriage, it cloaked the fact that I wasn't happy professionally because I was like,
Mm.
no, but it's Timmy, you are. Look what you're doing for the people and look what you, yeah, but I don't know. It just wasn't, I was just working for working. I was collecting, certainly I was making a ton of money, but I wasn't even spending it. So it wasn't even that. I didn't have no Lambo. I didn't have no Hermes bag. I didn't want those things. So I was like, who are you trying to prove to that you're good enough? And then finally, it took honestly losing Jarrell because he was always super chill. Like, babe, you good? I'm good. Baby girl is good. My stepdaughter, Alyssa, then I don't need nothing else. That lesson finally sunk in where like, I'm good. She's good. She's home from college. She's staying with me for the summer. My parents are good. My sisters are good. My niece and nephew. And so I still do good work, but not at the detriment to my own self. My therapist had to remind me because I would say, well, I'm doing all this in service to the community. And she had to remind me, aren't you too a part of that community? When do you get to be served by you, Tiffany? And so finally, I'm like, you're right. I deserve rest
Mm.
as well.
To get to the rest, though, there has to be a foot on the gas. I
Hmm.
was walking yesterday, and I'm in this park with turtles and birds, and they got this beautiful foliage. Not foliage because that's the fall, but they got every kind of flower and plant. And I saw this bird. It looked like a stork. Might
Hmm.
Probably it was a crane. Is a crane a stork? Are they the same? I think they might be. This
Okay.
thing came flying through. But I was like, in order for that thing to take off, there's a runway. Like we
Hmm.
think about, there's a runway. and you have to go fast to take off.
Hmm.
It's not like Superman where you just poof go into the air. Even the Wright brothers, you got to have a running start. And I think some of us can't get up off the couch to
Hmm.
volunteer or to do the thing. That's your running start to
Hmm.
get to a place. And then once you get to the place, once you're flying, you can fly, you can
Hmm.
land, and it's okay. It's all
Yeah, but
right.
the work doesn't have to be soul draining. I think that that is the thing that people think because the truth is when I was a preschool teacher, it was a lot of work, but I loved it. The babies were so cute. And like I love to see how smart our brown babies were. I work right in Newark, right in the South Ward, right on Freeland Avenue. If you know what that is, you know. But I loved it. And even when I first started the Budgetnista, I loved it. But what happened is like when the desire for more, but I wasn't clear about what the more meant took over. Then I started to not really enjoy what I was doing because I was just like, I know I'm doing good work, but am I, Tiffany? I mean, I know on the outside, but like what's really driving you? So once I lost touch of that, and so now I'm back in touch with that. So yes, certainly I'm not saying that you're not supposed to work. No, you like it takes work, but the work can be joyful,
That
the work can be aligned.
Can you imagine? And I'm sure you can. People living their whole lives working for 20, 30 years and not knowing what they were put here to do. You
Mm,
know, like I personally can imagine, but I've
mm-hmm.
always kind of did something that made me feel good,
Yeah.
you know, especially journalism. But then when I started teaching, it was like lights out. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Same.
put here to teach,
Yes,
on some
same.
level, the connection is unmatched, and I would never stop teaching. This is a form of a classroom in many ways, unorthodox as it is, or is it? But to live a whole life, to work a whole life, even with letters, and not have your purpose, and it just be this kind of pursuit of what, you know,
To
this is a
what end?
time, though, I think we're going to all have to confront what are
Mm-hmm.
you supposed to be doing
Mm-hmm. To what
that's going to
end?
be of service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think too that like I just know, I mean, that's why I don't teach like necessarily like this how you're gonna get rich. I don't know if you're gonna get rich, but I certainly can get you to a place of this is how you make enough to support your goals and dreams. That's why that's always been kind of like my mantra. And not to say there are not people out there who legitimately can't teach you how to like grow wealth, but that my thing is always like, how do I get you to a place where you have enough to live the life that you've decided for yourself? Because wealth might not be everyone's goal and hope and dream. And so, what I really want for everyone is not the money component, but it's to be able to not use it as an excuse not to live more fully. What do you really want? How do you want to
Mm,
wake up in the morning? Like, so I'm closing on, it probably won't be tomorrow. I thought it was going to be tomorrow. I'm buying two new properties that I'm closing on. And one of them, certainly, I mean, I'm getting such an amazing deal. And my friends in real estate, like, oh my God, girl, flip it. You don't even got to do nothing to it. You can make, I bought one for my bonus daughter. So when she graduates college, because she can live really close next to me. And then the other one, I have two sisters and I want them to live in the same neighborhood. So one of my sisters lives in the house that I renovated with my husband. So now I'm gonna have three sisters and my bonus baby and my friends in the same neighborhood. To me, that is what
that's
the money
beautiful.
is
That is
for.
beautiful. That is
You see
so
what I mean?
beautiful.
That is what the money is
Yes.
for. Not to hoard, not to. There's this amazing organization called MNF. It's a financial. It's an organization that helps Black doctors become Black doctors, and it started in my friend is the CEO of it, and she just had kind of like this ladies who lunch to raise money for it because, as you can imagine, they're losing so much funding. Every surgeon general every Black surgeon general that ever was in the United States came through that organization. I think they're responsible for more than 40 to 60% of the Black doctors that you find. So if this organization fails, do you understand like what that means? To me, I was talking to Terry Ijama, I know you guys have had her up here, and I said, Terry, let me get back on my trading lessons because I want to be able to trade so I can say, here's a six-figure check, NMF, because I need to be able to go to a doctor knowing that I'm going to be looked after. And if we don't look after organizations like that and they
Come
go
on.
under, it's intentional to drain an organization like that. It's intentional that this big ugly bill says that it's going to cap student loans for $150,000 because you're not going to get Black doctors and lawyers because they're going to need more funds than that in order to go
That's
through
right.
school.
That's right.
And so you see what I mean? So to me, when I think about the money, I'm like, child, like, how can I grow? Now I'm like incentivized to grow more wealth so I can write bigger checks to give it away.
Let me tell you, Terry, during the pandemic, we did a challenge. She raised money for the hub,
Mhm.
and that allowed us to do what we're doing now. And anybody that's on the hub.news, we're about to do the next thing. But that couldn't have happened if Terry Ijeoma did not say let's trade. And we chronicled the trading, and it
Yes.
was an election year. Man, it got real hairy at some
Mhm.
point. She got into crypto, but we were demonstrating that is the way forward. And she was able
Yes.
to donate to this venture to make sure that those reporters and it's about to, oh my goodness, I'm so proud and happy. But then it also made me think the same thing that you're thinking.
Yes.
What else can we do if we are
Yes.
all, intentionally investing, not just for our personal wealth,
Mhm.
but to fund? And when we get off, you're going to send me the CEO's name and
Yes,
stuff
we
so
have to
we
have
can
her
invite
on.
her
Michelle,
on.
yes, she's
Yes, we got to have
amazing.
her on. And we got
Yes.
to also plug her into Urban View Gives, which allows us just a way station with people to donate. If you're donating money, here you go. Here's an organization that we should, that brings it back into the community.
Yes.
Because as you said, we're going to be our own Calvary. All the funds are cutting.
Yes.
And I'm almost not happy, but when we're out of this on the other side, there should not be a handout anymore, begging
Mm.
nobody for nothing.
Mhm.
We are enough. Okay.
Mhm.
And if this does nothing else but to train us to be self sufficient in a way that leans on community first, not on these government checks, I
Yeah.
think and this goes for wealth, this goes for everything. Because with SNAP and all of these, resources that we used to be able to Medicare, being able to depend upon, even Social Security is a little shaky right now. I
Yeah.
think it's not for sure. Maybe not
Mhm.
for maybe for my generation, but maybe not for your generation, not the
Mm.
next one. We're gonna have to do something different, and if once we do it, then it'll be done.
Mhm.
That'll
My
be the
dad, my
blueprint.
dad said there's a I don't know if it's Nigerian, but I know certainly it's an African saying that says, "He who pays the piper determines the tune."
Mm,
And so like wherever that like so for those of you who whoever pays the DJ gets to tell the DJ what to play. And so right now we have not been paying the piper. We're not the one who hired the DJ. But if we do, if we're the one who funds these organizations, then we get a say. And so maybe you're right. Maybe this is the shakeup that's necessary to say, well, what do we need to do to fund, to self-fund? What do
mm,
we need to do? It's funny because the NMF, there's also, it's called MLT. There's an organization, the opposite of, not the opposite, but it's similar to the doctors organization in that it's to help young Black folks become senior executive level folks in corporate America. And so I think they've already graduated. It's a nonprofit, 13,000 folks. And then of the 13,000, 1,500 of them are executive level Black folks. And so that's what they've helped them get to that space. Because once they're in there, that's how they help to pull other people in. And so there are organizations out there, but they don't have the funding. And I thought to myself, okay, now that you're good, this is the next level of wealth. Because I have seen Terry, not to put your business out there, Terry, write big checks for
that's right.
organizations. That is the purpose. Because I used to think like, well, what is the purpose kind of wealth? Is to be able to champion causes that other people would not. I have a nephew that has sickle cell. For example, it is the number one blood disorder of children that kills children. The number one, and disproportionately Black children. And there's been almost no, except for recently, almost no movement in 30 years for sickle cell advancement. I wonder why. If you think if it was killing white children, that it would be left to languish as long as it has, that's crazy. It's to the point where one of the reasons why my sister loves to live in Newark is because she knows when she takes him to the hospital in Newark, they're like, oh, sickle cell, we're very familiar because this is a Black city. She's taken him to other places and they're like, well, we don't, sickles, what is that? Give him a Tylenol. No. Can you imagine being a doctor and not understanding what sickle cell anemia is? Like, but it's very common. So she's like, no, I don't take him to hospitals where there's not a prevalence of Black people in that neighborhood, or they're not going to know what to do with him, you know? And so, like, that though is our responsibility now. We realize now that if they could give it, they could take it. So,
Come on. And having the community to be in that can see you and
yes,
value you, and to
yes,
build the community like you're doing, one
yeah.
house, one block, one block at a time. We can do this. We can do this. Tiffany, I appreciate you
Thank
as
you.
always. I look forward to seeing you again, giving you a
Yes,
hug.
yes,
Yes, safe travels.
yes. I
Safe
will see
travels.
y'all. I will sign your books. I'm there for the 3 days. So yes, let's
Yeah.
hang out. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. And get good with money. Those of you coming to the conference, you're going to get made whole. the workbook because we're going to be working. Going to get your pens out and let's get busy. Thank you so much.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.